Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Pagani Design PD1733, homage to a Rolex Milgauss. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Phileta DE11, homage to a Rolex James Cameron. And Greg was wearing my Pagani Design PD1719, homage to a Doxa Sub 300. I asked Grogo if he's going to be in the new Andor series. He said, Andor what series? I said the new series Andor. He said, Andor what? I said the new series on Disney Plus about Cassius Andor. He said, Cassius Andor who? I said, on Disney Plus, there's going to be a new series called Andor. It is about Cassius Andor, who was in the movie Rogue One. He said, who in Rogue One? There were lots of people in Rogue One. I said, never mind. All right, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this box. It came in one of the newer Pagani Design boxes with the little blue tint to it, a little metallic tint there. And here it is. Once again, this is an homage to a Rolex Milgauss. I bet you couldn't guess that. When it comes to Rolex homages, you don't see a whole bunch of Milgauss clones. The Milgauss is still around because it still sells out simply due to the fact that most stainless steel Rolexes sell out. The Milgauss's reason for being is its magnetic resistance, which was an issue when all watches were mechanical. Now, if you cared about magnetic resistance, you would just buy a quartz watch. You'll find no such resistance on this Pagani Design. If unicorn farts were real and you could just walk into your local AD and buy any Rolex you want, they would probably get rid of the Milgauss as it no longer serves a purpose. Who would buy a Milgauss when for just a hair more you could have a Submariner or a Daytona on the wrist? Believe it or not, I really like the looks of a Milgauss and really like the looks of this PD1733. It's got that cool orange lightning bolt second hand and matching orange indices at the 12, 3, 6, and 9. It's basically an OP with a little character. You used to be able to get a Rolex Air King, which was the same exact watch with a different dial and handset and $1,000 cheaper. Then Rolex went and changed the Air King, and that is no longer the case. But it is the case with Pagani Design, as I recently reviewed the PD1692 homage to a Rolex Air King, and this is the exact same size. So it's basically the same watch with a different dial and handset. The watch is 38.5 millimeters at the bezel, 49 millimeters lug to lug, 51.6 if you count the protruding end leaks. It's only 11.5 millimeters thick, which is fairly thin for a NH35 powered automatic. Has a 20 millimeter lug width and weighs 139 grams on the supply bracelet with 2 links removed. The bezel is a smooth polish, just your basic bezel, doesn't do anything other than look pretty. Then it has a black dial with no sunburst effect. We just have the Pagani Design logo and not the name on top, and then it just says automatic on bottom. No mention of water resistance, but this is 100 meters as it says on back of the case back. Then the indices, we have orange indices at the 12, 3, 6, and 9, and everything else is white. But as you can see, we also have minute counters at the 5s, and those are in orange too. Then the hands, instead of having that Mercedes hour hand and fence post minute hand, it's more of a thin design, similar to what they use on the OPs. And then the second hand, of course, is this lightning bolt. This lightning bolt, though, is not loomed, even though it's the same color as the indices here, which are loomed. And this has no date. The sign crown is a screw-down crown. It has pretty good thread action. You don't feel a lot of thread resistance. This is an NH35 though, so there is a ghost date, so you can pull it out to the date position. Some people really complain about that. I don't really care. It's no big deal for me. I can understand why they do that, because it's just, they buy so many NH35s, I'm sure they get a bulk discount, and they wouldn't get near as much of a discount on NH38s. But the thread action is really good when you go to set the watch. And it pops nicely when screwed down, and then when you screw it back down too, it catches right away, and you don't feel a lot of resistance. I really like the crown, even though it's a little small, but it's appropriately sized though for the type of watch it is. Then the crystal is a flat sapphire. It's got this green tint to it. At least I think it has green tint. They sure claim it has green tint. I don't know if they just painted the edges green and called it good or not, because it's really hard to tell. But I'll take their word for it. And then the case is solid stainless steel. We got polished sides and then brushed tops and bottoms. It's a nice case, does the job. The lug to lug isn't huge considering the bezel size. The case back is a screw down, providing 100 meters water resistance. As you can see here, it says Pagani Design, stainless steel, and then gives the depth rating of 100 meters, and it gives the model number, the PD1733. I like this case back. It's really thin. This is what keeps the watch thin. I think they did a good job with that. And I like the fact, too, that Pagani Design doesn't make their case backs Rolex style, where you need the special tool to open it. Underneath the case back is the ever reliable NH35. This is the go-to movement for watches in this price range. It's a 24 jewel 3 hertz movement that hand winds and hacks and has a bidirectional rotor. So you never know what you're going to get with an NH35, but they're usually fairly reliable right off the shelf. But we'll go ahead and put it on the time grapher anyway, because I like using my time grapher. Here it is on the time grapher. As you can see, it's running about +5, +6, +7. Those are really good numbers. You always want it to run a little fast rather than really little slow if it's a hacking movement, because it's a lot easier to set that way. Just pull out the crown and wait for time to catch up. As you can see, the amplitude's a little low, and there's a little bit of beat error there, but it's still running pretty good. It's running like a typical NH35. The oyster style bracelet has solid end links, but it's not a fully articulating bracelet, as the center links are attached to the side links. And unlike the real Milgauss, it only has brushed center links. The real one has polished. I think I'd rather have brushed anyway. It's just more of a tool watch look. Kind of wish they would have brushed the sides too. Then it has screw pin adjusters. Pagani Design usually has fairly big screw pin heads, so you don't have to get the tiniest screwdriver out of your set. One thing about Pagani Design, though, they never have holes on the other end, so if you ever strip one, good luck getting it out. And then has a oyster style clasp. Once again, I'm not a huge fan of the oyster style clasp, but if it's a Rolex homage, I give it a pass, because they want it to look like a Rolex. And Pagani Design does sign theirs. One thing weird about Pagani Design oyster style clasp, though, is when it comes to the micro adjust, when you go to put the tool in, there's only one side you can put the tool in. You can't put it in the other side, and I don't know why they do that, but Pagani Design does. But the clasp works fine. It's got the easy link. And once again, if it's a Rolex homage, I'm perfectly fine with this style clasp. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. As you can see, it wears nice and flat here. Really fits my wrist nice. This is really about the perfect size for a watch if you don't want anything really bold and big. And it's light, only 140 grams. It's comfortable. And yeah, I'm really pleased with the fit and feel of this watch. Here we are in the Loom room. Pagani Design Loom is a lot like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. As we speed up the time, we can see that the orange loom isn't that bad. But unfortunately, the other loom is pretty meager, especially the hand loom. You want the hand loom to be better than the index loom, because what good is seeing a watch if you can't see the hands? But unfortunately, the hand loom is not as good as the main indices. But I've seen worse on a Pagani Design before. What do I like about this watch? Well, I like the fact that it really looks like a Milgauss. I mean, they're trying to homage one, and they nailed that. I like the lightning bolt second hand. I just think it's cool. I like the green tint of the crystal. And I really like the fit of the watch. It just wears so nicely. What are my gripes and groans? Well, the loom is pretty substandard, especially the hand loom. It's a lot worse than the orange index loom. So I really wish they would have done a better job with the hand loom. Other than that, there's really not that much to complain about. I mean, everything else of it just works. So I usually try to pick 3 gripes and groans, but if you like the looks of a Milgauss, I don't really know what else to complain about. Do I recommend this watch? Sure. If you want something that looks like a Milgauss, this will do the job. It wears nice. It's well built. Nice and thin for an automatic. Very comfortable. So, yeah, I highly recommend this watch. Of course, if you prefer the looks of an Air King, get the PD1632, which is basically the same watch but with a different dial and handset. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Pagani Design PD1733, homage to a Rolex Milgauss, and I will be back with another unboxing video. I just got something in the other day. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.